In my recent training, I learned that team conflicts are not the only roadblock to success, that leaders and teams can transform those conflicts into opportunities for deeper connection. The training was great, and it was focused around taking care of teams that we care about, not because we lead them, and because it's the human thing to do. I'm sharing my takeaways from the EMC Leaders Training and resources. We are back with another episode of Ask HR. This is where you, the employees, and we, people leaders, get HR-related questions answered. We exchange perspective and co-create people standards and practical solutions. We are your external human resources department, balancing employee advocacy with business accountability and proving that great workplaces can and should be both humane and high-performing while keeping the business moving forward. I'm your host, Yusin Patel-Young. Think about what kind of a leader you could become if you were not spending hours on workplace conflict that no longer drains your time, but actually strengthens your team. I have colleagues who are literally spending 4 hours plus every week dealing with workplace drama and conflict. Can you imagine the type of leadership you can focus on if that time were to be given back to you? We all know that most conflict strategies will focus on the policy, performance, or even fixing the issue itself. What we usually miss is the emotional connection. We miss engagement opportunities and what we know now as psychological safety. Here's what I mean. We humans do our very best work when we feel safe. We feel seen, heard, and connected. And when that connection breaks down, there goes the productivity. Even the creativity and engagement start to trickle away. So what else can leaders do without adding to more of our already full plate when it comes to managing conflict? I'm glad you asked. The first quick one we're going to talk about is learning to recognize the early signs of disconnection or disengagement. These warning signs often shows up as the blame, repeated complaints, some withdrawal, or the quiet avoidance. Beneath all of them is one spoken question: can I count on you? Leaders who can notice disconnection early enough can prevent bigger issues later on. Once you see it, then the next step is simply but powerful. It's to name what's happening. You probably have experienced defensive behaviors that creates repeat conflict patterns. So this brings us to the second win, and that is calling out the negative cycle. Those patterns keep our teams stuck. Leaders can disrupt that cycle by naming the pattern, not blaming the person directly. So pay attention to the language you're using in real time. Think about how the blame keeps us frozen in time. The curiosity will keep us moving forward. And the next one is restoring emotional safety. What safety drops, emotions takes over. Remember that the validation here is not an agreement, it's just an acknowledgement. And people cannot problem solve when they don't feel safe first. The next is accessible, responsive, and engage. Every conflict, more or less, carries the same underlying question: are you there for me? Now, as leaders, we do not need to have the perfect answer. We usually don't. The presence is what matters more. ARE will build a little bit of resilience. It will strengthen stress and speeds up the conflict resolution. Take a moment to reflect. Under stress, which one do you default to avoiding? Is it being accessible, responsive, or just being engaged? The final one is let's focus on connection, not just resolution. This last one is that fixing the issue isn't enough if the relationship stays broken. Rebuilding the connection will most likely restore the balance and make future collaboration much easier down the line. But teams that stays connected don't usually avoid conflict altogether. They do grow stronger through it. Now, the resolution may end the immediate problem, but the connection and the engagement will prevent the next one. And before we wrap up, let's take a moment and learn more about our sponsor. Ask HR is proudly sponsored by YP Personnel Management and Consulting, a strategic, tactical, practical HR solutions consulting firm. YPPMC goes beyond the traditional consulting. Whether you need strategic HR planning or practical day-to-day support, we've got you covered. Visit YPPMC and learn how we can help. We are your resources at work. To wrap up, conflict isn't a leadership failure. It's a leadership opportunity. As you can see, these 5 quick wins gives us a framework. When leaders shift from control to connection, good things can happen. Your time is freed up, the burnout eases, and the trust can grow. Because when we approach the conflict through engagement and connection, our team don't just get by, they do get a little bit better. And this is because we are creating the conditions for people to do their best work and thrive. This isn't just soft leadership, it's smart, strategic leadership. Here's my challenge to you. Try a few of these quick wins. See what shifts, and let's keep the conversation going. And that's going to wrap up this week's conversation of Ask HR. Thank you for continuing to support our show. If you have a question for the show, send to askhr@yppmc.com. Until next time.